This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance. And I did not kill my wife, and you don't care. And I believe I can fly, cause I'm the king of the world. From the 90s to nothing, I'll be there.
I downloaded this little baby off the net.
Place to Be Nation Pop. Welcome one and all to the second episode of 90 to Nothing. I am your co-host, Sam Neely, joined here by my longtime friend, Russell Sellers. How are you, Russell?
I'm doing great. Look at you taking over the lead of the show. I'll dig it.
I know. It's almost like I've got a degree in broadcasting that I've never used.
Well, we're going to give it some exercise today. How about that?
That'll work. So this last month we took it to Home Alone, the beginning of the 90s. This month we're taking it towards the end of the 90s, towards some of our older years.
Yeah, man.
Going to 1998 with a little teen comedy known as Can't Hardly Wait. This was the viewer pick between this and The Rocketeer. I'm only a little bit bitter about that, but that's just how it goes.
He's not mad. He's not mad at all.
Not at all. I just had to, watch this movie so that I could remember what happens in it.
That is
could have done The Rocketeer from memory.
See, I had to watch this movie over again too because it'd been not that long actually. Because funny story about this movie. This was the film that actually birthed this podcast.
No kidding.
Yeah, I was just sitting around watching this movie and reminiscing with some other folks about how this was one of the most quintessential 90s, or just a definition of what I consider the cliche 90s movie. And suddenly it just occurred to me, this would be a great focus of a podcast. Let's talk about 90s films. And here we are, talking about the movie that created this show. So
awesome. So I didn't know that. I just knew that you and I were talking, and you said something about starting it, and I said, "Can I be on it?"
Yeah.
I went to films in the 90s. Not this one. This one I saw on cable in the 2000s, but still.
Well, it counts because it came out, as we said, in 1998, and was kind of the precursor to much more successful teen comedies that I think this movie is kind of a blueprint for, such as the American Pie series.
We can agree to disagree on that.
It's not as good as that series, I don't think, but it has some commonality, and it does. It has a crossover actor too.
It has one crossover actor with American Pie. Yes.
Yeah.
On my very unofficial checklist.
The very unofficial checklist that I'm sure we're going to go forward with. So.
Oh, we will.
For those who have never seen this movie, can we give them a quick plot summary?
Yeah, but you probably don't want to hear my plot summary. The one scene in every teen movie that takes place at a house party that is unrealistically huge.
Yeah.
And it's either launches the third act where someone gets mad at someone, or launches the second act where somebody falls in love with someone. Well, this is like, what if that party was the whole movie and there was no thread combining all the different plots?
Yeah, this whole movie takes place on one night from all these seniors who just graduated high school on this same day at a huge house party thrown by one of their classmates whose parents apparently didn't go to her graduation that morning because they're gone until Sunday, as she says, and that just trips me out. But the crux of the movie is this kid, Preston, played by Ethan Embry. Teen heartthrob Ethan Embry. Everybody remember him? His not so healthy obsession with Amanda Beckett, played by Jennifer Love Hewitt, who is a character he's apparently been in love with for all 4 years of his high school, despite never having had one single conversation with her.
Yeah, can you even call that love? Let's be real.
It's pure infatuation. It's a silly plot idea. It's
beyond infatuation. It's borderline. It's obsession.
It is.
Yeah.
It is definitely that. And he's finally seen his opportunity to, I'm going to air quote this, get with her, because her jerk of a jock boyfriend, Mike Dexter, has dumped her. the morning of graduation. So Mike's motivation, of course, is he's going to get with college girls and he doesn't need her anymore. And hilarity ensues. All the while, maybe the lone voice of reason in this movie, Preston's best friend, Denise, played by Lauren Ambrose, tries to, at least steer him away from going fully into stalker mode, though.
But unfortunately, she finds herself trapped in the bathroom for the entire duration of the movie.
Yeah.
With Kenny, played by Seth Green.
Played hilariously by Seth Green.
Hilarious, as the school's resident tryhard.
Oh, God, is he. He is culturally appropriating, or I don't know what we're exactly going to use as terminology there, but let's just say that he has adopted hip-hop culture as his own.
Yes, he is Malibu's most wanted.
He is certainly that. Very, very much so. Long before Malibu's Most Wanted came around, and my God, is it hilarious and terrible in all the best possible ways.
I love that his backpack. He's essentially like if you've ever gone to a nice bar that has a bathroom attendant who has all that stuff out there for you in a tip jar. You think he's a bathroom attendant because he's carrying like it's supposed to be his sex bag, but it's all sorts of just random shit. Like he's got his mouthwash and he's got I'm like, is he going to set up in the bathroom and like get tip money? Because that would have been.
He could have made some money that way. I think he's got a nice scented candle in there. He's got an assortment of condoms, which I think is really overestimating someone's chances. Yes. And a pocket Karma Sutra.
Yes, he does.
He has.
Forgot about that one. At
one point, is even practicing the moves in the bathroom.
He's doing his stretches. As you do.
It's one of those things. It's a cliche joke for these types of movies, but it is also just pretty freaking funny. I got to say that Kenny Fisher is kind of the breakout hilarious star of this movie for me. Though he does have some of his own problematic stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean he's. I wouldn't say that he's necessarily the breakout character, but I would say that the relationship between him and Denise and the way that it is actually built on their pre-existing friendship and them talking and getting to know each other makes that sort of B story, or I guess that might be the C story if William's story is supposed to be the B story. That makes it stand out as a relationship much better than the A story.
Yeah, Preston and Amanda just honestly doesn't work. They have no chemistry together either. Like once they actually finally do talk, it was like Jennifer Love Hewitt doesn't even like Ethan Embry. In any way. You can tell in their last scene together, but I'll talk about that a little bit later because that is the big crux of the story. It all wraps around a pretty cliche 90s soundtrack, but with some odd little numbers thrown in there too from the 80s and from before probably because you've got Barry Manilow playing a pretty big role in this movie.
Yes. And I know we were watching it the other night, my wife and I, and the song Mandy comes on. I hadn't seen this movie since I was in my 20s. We're watching it, and the song Mandy comes on. It's like, see, it's a sign. It's Mandy. And, of course, my first thought is, isn't that song about a dog? And then my wife's like, they're about to have this conversation, right? I was like, I didn't remember that. But, yeah. I don't actually think... I think that's just a rumor that the song's about a dog anyway.
Yeah, I've never actually seen that confirmed or denied by Manilow himself. So
he said it as a joke at one point, I think, in an interview. People took it and ran with it.
And speaking of things that we don't know if it's a joke or not, lead character Preston, played by Ethan Embry, the actor says that he actually doesn't really remember filming most of this movie because apparently he was high for the majority of filming. He smoked a lot of weed and spent most of his downtime between takes in his trailer doing just that.
Okay, so we're talking about this one, and we're not talking about Empire Records?
Yeah, probably that one too. But I'm assuming that that's pretty much how he spent all of his career. I mean, he was 19 years old when they filmed this movie. Mm-hmm. So come that last scene that we were talking about where, spoiler alert, he and Amanda get together and they share that kiss, there's a look that Jennifer Love Hewitt is giving him just as they're about to embrace. And it's not one of desire, but more of, oh God, do I actually have to do this? And I've always wondered why she was giving him that look. Well, apparently it was because he smelled awful.
Oh yeah,
and
having done theater and having been in the situation where you have to do stage kisses with someone who didn't brush their teeth that day, you got to just power through it.
Yeah, and apparently she gave him as a gift before they filmed the scene. She gave him a teddy bear stuffed with breath mints. So
throwing shade.
Yeah, that's where we were with this movie. So, to the movie's credit, though, that is at least an attempt at a swerve on the tried and true formula of guy is infatuated with girl he doesn't actually know, only to come to the realization that he actually loves the girl who is his best friend. But that doesn't happen in this movie.
No, it doesn't. And I watch it and it's almost like I want that to happen because they have a connection. Now, at the same time, I'm also glad it doesn't happen because I don't like the idea that every connection people have that people have has to turn into also a sexual connection. I think that friendship is important too.
Yes, and it really
but at the same
work.
time, he has no connection with Amanda. Like they're just he has more connection with the angel stripper.
Yeah, played by Jenna Elfman, who was kind of big at the time.
Yeah,
and honestly, yeah, their chemistry was pretty great. They could actually get through a scene together, and it seemed like there was at least something natural to it. So maybe he should have exercised a try at the older woman.
Yeah, and then even like William and Mike in their very brief actual scene together, where they kind of make amends.
Yeah,
they played that better than Preston and Amanda did. Like Preston and Amanda, he has an obsession with her despite never having spoken with her. Writes a letter with his idealized version of her. When he actually talks to her, she thinks he's just one of the other guys hitting on her because she's getting hit on by everyone.
And she destroys him.
And then literally she has her change of heart because she sees his picture in the yearbook.
Yeah, and then she comes to the realization that, oh, that was the dude that wrote the letter. Of course, I like to, sometimes put my own spin on these movies as we're watching them. So, I think we mentioned that Preston had written this letter over and over and over again, apparently, confessing.
Because he doesn't even remember what it says anymore.
Supposedly. I think he's just, saying that so he doesn't sound as stalkery. But he's written her this
you give him more credit. You give him more credit for self-awareness than I do.
Possibly, but I think it's because he has Denise in his life that he has some level of self-awareness. I mean, if you took her away and it was just Preston left to his own devices, I think he becomes the prototype to the incel.
Yes,
absolutely.
He's got his fedora and everything.
That is definitely a thing that is happening. But the way Amanda is written in this movie is even completely unrealistic because here's this girl who, by her own admission, says she comes to this high school from junior high where none of these people had gone, so she's the new girl.
Yeah,
and her whole life changes because suddenly all the popular people adopt her into their collective. But through 4 years of only hanging out with these people, she somehow maintains her sweet, innocent persona underneath all of that. I don't buy it. You do not stare into the abyss without the abyss also staring back into you. So that she stayed with this group of people, including her awful, stereotypically jock boyfriend Mike, says a lot about her as a person. So that I don't buy her being the idealized version, as you just mentioned, that Preston also created in his mind. There's no way that would be true.
Yeah, it's almost like the writers, they wanted a specific type of girl to be Amanda. Like they wanted this certain type, and it's not. I don't say it's unrealistic, but it's uncommon. for it to happen the way it happened. But they wanted this, but they also wanted a catalyst for this to be, Preston's moment. Otherwise, it would not surprise me at all if when they were developing this, they came up with the idea that, oh, well, he suddenly realizes that he's about to leave and now he has to finally confess his love. And then they said, well, no, there has to be some kind of reason. Yeah. But then there's not even, because they put Mike in as the rival, but he's not even really a rival for her affection with Preston. I don't think Preston and Mike even interact.
They don't.
Mike's primary purpose in the movie, so it's almost like they wrote Mike as this separate character, and it was this unrelated thing where Mike was the former bully that William is targeting. And then they said, oh, no, you know what? We need to have her break up with someone. Oh, wait, we've already got a guy who's kind of a jerk, so let's do that.
And it's weird how they, work those parallels. And I'm glad that you mentioned that. I never even really paid that much attention that Mike and Preston have no scenes together.
Yeah.
So it's trippy that these two, who would, be like romantic rivals, never interact. Never even really see each other, honestly.
Yeah.
Except for that, like one time in a flashback sequence when we go to Amanda's first day, and that brings me to a question I wanted to ask you. Do you think that it's a healthy thing to base your first impressions on someone by what they choose to eat for breakfast?
Absolutely not. And this also, because all these tropes, this is why, this is what really kind of, now I didn't see this movie till I was older, but a lot of these tropes were in other movies, and they really, they inspired a lot of just really cringy behavior in high school me. And, I remember not even high school, even middle school, one of my friends pointing out this weird, abnormality with my ears. And after that, I always stared at other people's ears, looking for someone else who had the abnormality that I had, because I was convinced that if I met someone, if I met a girl whose ears had the same issue as mine, then it must be a sign that she was my soulmate. I know at one point, I remember I didn't even like Mellow Yellow, but I got Mellow Yellow because some girl got Mellow Yellow, and I thought maybe that would mean that we were soulmates.
So what I'm hearing you say is that this movie is actually pretty accurate to
this movie is accurate. But here's the thing: this movie is accurate to everything you should not do, and also it's accurate to the kinds of things that idiot middle school and high school boys do because they've seen them in movies and think that they work.
Yep. And it's still pretty, it's funny in that sense, but yeah, it's, you can see every unhealthy cliche especially in every male character in this movie. I don't think there's any one of these male characters who's well adjusted. At least not yet. They're all pretty far off. Even William, who actually I feel like goes on the biggest hero's journey, in the movie. I feel like he's the one that really kind of winds up, truly growing as a person. Whereas,
he does, because especially at the very last scene, that last scene in the diner feels to me like a rewrite. And I don't know, I'm not a writer, and I'm definitely talking way too much about the writing process for someone who's not a writer. But it feels like they probably, the story wanted him and Mike to be friends at the end, but there needed to be a gag of Mike being a jerk. Yeah,
they bring it all the way back around, even though, as William and Mike had, made amends, and of course they did it while they were drunk. And I'm reasonably sure at some point William went from drunk to high because he's hanging out with the stoner kids at some point in this movie. And we don't see him actually getting high ever. We only see him really have one beer, but his demeanor just completely changes from one to the other. Yeah. So it's a hell of a thing, but overall, I would say that his story to me feels like the most relatable one, because he's this kid who's just never had an opportunity or never taken the opportunity to really come out of his shell. And when he does, suddenly everybody really likes him.
Yeah. It's also interesting because that whole scene between Mike and Trip McNeely,
where played by Jerry O'Connell.
Played by Jerry O'Connell, uncredited. But they had that whole conversation that kind of gives you the sort of little message of, don't just live in the past kind of thing. But then at the same time, it's not because he's like, oh, I wish that I had stayed with my girlfriend from high school. I'm like, well, I mean, sometimes, yeah, that works out, but also you've got to grow up and move on. Yeah. But for William's story, it's like he's living his entire life because of stuff that happened when he was so young. And he's just like obsessed over that stuff. And, if, as Mike would say, if this was a Street Fighter movie, for him, that was just Tuesday.
Yeah. Also, speaking of Jerry O'Connell, did you notice the fraternity letters on his shirt?
It was Dick. Yep. I always check fraternity letters on things because they put so many funny little puns in those.
I thought it was cool for Jerry O'Connell to make that cameo appearance in the movie, and to give Mike kind of a reality check, even though he's kind of drunk there and starting to realize that none of these other girls want anything to do with him. Which is about to be the remainder of his life, it seems. And you're right about O'Connell's character there, Trip McNeely, not having experienced enough of college life to really be able to give Mike any kind of like valuable insight, though he does, make a good point about, starting over in college. You can't just be the same guy that you were and expect to get the same results in this new environment. You're gonna have to move on, and that is something this movie tries to explore, but only gets so far with it because we're only given a single night in the lives of these characters.
Right. There's a lot of, I don't even want to call it wasted time, because the movie is the point of the movie is not to really have a message or even have much of a story other than one very basic one.
Yeah.
But there's so much that could have been explored that they just didn't. They barely scratched the surface of because they had to make room for the band arguing and now, Jason Segel eating a watermelon.
That is funny though. That this is the film debut of Jason Segel.
Yes, that's true. One of my favorite things that I put in my notes about his scene is that him and his buddy are talking about Scooby-Doo, and they're talking about how Velma can get it. Of course, Jason Segel in Freaks and Geeks was romantically linked with Linda Cardellini's character, Linda Cardellini, who later played Velma in the Scooby-Doo movies.
There we go. There's a fun little bit of trivia for you guys.
Oh, yeah. It's stretched, but I have a whole little chart drawn out.
but it's a thing. Oh, and speaking of the band, Brecken Meyer is the lead singer of that band.
Yes, he is.
Who we never actually get to hear sing. He is actually.
Yeah, no, it's all on like. You never even see the band perform.
You don't, like the one time whenever they go through pretty much every band cliche I think there is in the course of this one night, where they're talking about, oh, there's a talent scout that we might get in front of tonight at this party. Oh God, this is going to be our big moment. This is also our first ever gig, and then they get into an argument over whether or not you should wear your own band's T-shirt. Yep. And that causes this whole like kerfuffle between the band, everybody kind of becoming prima donna about it and breaking up, only to wind up reconciling, coming back together to play as one of them puts it, a reunion show.
Yes.
And just as they're counting in to play their very first song, cops bust in and bust the whole party.
It almost reminds me of that random Family Guy scene where Peter and the guys start a band and they go and play like a prison show or something, and they get up there, they're all dressed up, and they do the count off on the drumsticks, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my God, we don't know any songs.
I was going to ask, what do you think Love Burger actually sounded like?
It's hard to tell. Like, I mean, they had a cowboy hat, so maybe they were country, but probably not.
No, I don't think so, because, as we were saying, Brecken Meyer's character was dressed in, he had a freaking ascot on.
Yeah, he was glam.
Very glam looking.
And I was in a band in '98, so I should know what bands sounded like.
Yeah, it's like just looking at these dudes, I couldn't tell you at all what this sound was going to be, but I'm kind of sad that we don't actually get to hear anything from them, even if it was a cover. But it's funny, as I was about to say about Breckin Meyer, is he is actually married, or at least was married to one of the directors and co-writers of this movie.
Oh.
So that's his connection to it. And like many of the other characters throughout this movie, he's never named.
Right. Yeah, he's on Wikipedia. They say his name was Walter.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if they ever actually named him, because there are several
doubt
characters.
But he's also uncredited.
I did not realize he was officially. No, he's in the cast list, I think.
Is he? Okay, I'm just looking at Wikipedia. I don't remember his name coming up. I do know that Melissa Joan Hart was uncredited.
Yes, that is kind of a weird thing, because she's in several scenes in the movie. She's uncredited, and the hyperactivity of her character could actually be traced to the B12 vitamins that she was taking at the time, because she was really loading up on them to stay awake, because she was also filming Sabrina the Teenage Witch at the same time.
I see.
So she's bouncing back and forth between these two things and pretty much getting no sleep.
I got to say, I did get a little bit of a memory. The scene where somebody threw her yearbook in the trash.
Yeah.
And she's like, "It's somebody's yearbook. You don't throw somebody's yearbook in the trash." When I turned, I think about 27 or 28, I had a birthday party. A bunch of people came over. Somebody found my 8th grade yearbook and didn't like their picture in it. And when I was cleaning up the house the next day, I found it in the trash. I was like, who throws out my 8th grade yearbook?
So you had this moment. Man, we're kind of discovering that we've had these moments.
Oh, yeah.
All these moments that they all crammed into a single night. Now, going back to our A story between Preston and Amanda, what did you make of the ending of this? With her, she took that letter, she realized it was Preston later, but she can't find him at the party. Because he's already gone. And,
she also doesn't know who he is.
But she did after seeing the yearbook picture.
Yeah, that's true.
And she looks up, she gets his information somehow or another, talks to his dad and finds out that Preston is at the train station about to leave for this conference with Kurt Vonnegut of all people. Okay. But anyway, yeah, he's at the train station. He's about to leave for this conference, and she goes to him. Now, to me, I think that's maybe the biggest break in reality here.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me, is that she would not do that. In fact, whenever she was reading that letter, the initial reaction on her face seemed one of concern, but I read it as, "Oh God, I've got to get out of here. My stalker's at this party, and apparently he's been watching me for 4 years. What is about to happen? I need to leave."
Yeah, that's not a bad, not a bad assumption. There was a situation when I was in high school where somebody was leaving love letters to someone, and it was not it was not a situation that made the person feel flattered.
It's another one of those times whenever you see these big romantic gestures in these movies being made to seem, like real awe moments, but really they're like moments.
Yeah,
like you need to get as far away from this dude as possible. He's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, that's not how people work.
Nope. He's insane. But maybe Amanda is too, because she went to find him.
She did. I mean, but she's also been in a relationship with Mike Dexter for 4 years. Maybe she thinks that, I guess a healthy relationship is more of a stalkery one.
Yeah, I mean, she goes from, it feels like she goes from one extreme to the other. And
yeah,
it's too much. I just can't buy it. I mean, the more realistic ending would be he goes off to his conference, never sees Amanda again, goes off to college, and maybe grows up a little bit, learning to deal with loss, and maybe Amanda will finally figure out who she is when she goes off to college. Of course, this movie goes for the super ultra happy mega ending by having them wind up together. Mike Dexter doesn't even make it through his first year of college, according to the end credits.
Yeah.
But William goes on to form a software company after attending Harvard and winds up being a millionaire and dating a supermodel. So hey, William wins.
Yeah, I think that's kind of based on the idea, and I think because of people like Bill Gates, who was at that time the richest person in the world, the idea was, oh, the nerds are going to win. The nerds are going to win. Which was true when the nerds were nerdy for getting good at things that were marketable. But I think that the idea that being a nerd is automatically going to make you successful now doesn't really work anymore, because if I can make a career out of sitting around bitching about comic books, then I would, but it's just not going to happen.
Hey, don't shit on my dream, man.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry for shitting on your dream, but it's unrealistic and you need to grow out of it.
It's true. It's true. What I wouldn't give to be able to, sit around and bitch about comics all day.
Yeah.
But nobody's going to pay me to do that. Just like nobody's going to pay me to bitch about 90s movies.
Nope.
But
Labor of love.
it is. It really is. And speaking of labors of love, poor Denise actually decided to stick with Kenny after their random tryst in the bathroom.
I got the impression more that she was just kind of seeing where it was going.
Yeah, and their ending is kind of left ambiguous. Because it's like, all right, well they
broke up 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later they got back together in the bathroom.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well that relationship could go anywhere.
They feel like the kind of couple that would do that a lot in the beginning, though. They don't really know whether it's going to work. There's a lot of, oh my God, he's such an idiot. Do I really like an idiot? His whole thing, oh, well, I mean, I don't really know if I want,
I mean, if they could find a way to balance each other out, it would work. But but they are two extremes, maybe coming back together, and each of them realizing that they don't know who each other is.
It could go any way, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it really could have gone either way with those two, but I like to think that they did not wind up together.
Yeah, I think that neither of them would necessarily have been happy together unless Kenny grew up. Denise seemed like she was on the right track, to being a decent, well-adjusted human. Yeah,
she still had, some growing up and some learning to do, but
everybody does right after high school.
But college was going to be where I think Denise was going to thrive, much like William.
Yes,
those two were going to go on to college and do great things. Preston, as I said, I think in the real world does not get the hot girl, and may actually be the proto-child for the incel movement.
Yeah, and then even assuming that this movie happens in a realistic setting, him and Amanda aren't going to last, and he's probably got this idea. He has this whole fate thing in his mind that he uses as an excuse to dick around and not study in college, because he's like, well, I'm meant for great things. Yeah. I met Kurt Vonnegut one time. He told me that he liked my shoes. Well, he told me that they were untied.
That seems like the realistic take on this movie that we actually need.
Yeah,
the follow up, where did this actually go? And you know what, you're right. Even if Amanda did give Preston a chance, there is no way that she lives up to this idealized version that he's got built up in his head.
Yeah,
because
nobody does. Yeah, nobody does.
Nobody can. She's human. It's no girl is ever going to live up to that idealized version you have in your head. You have to accept people for who they are, not as you wish them to be. And I don't even think Preston has really accepted himself. So that's another.
Well, no, he's also looking. Yeah, he's looking for his identity through someone else.
Yeah, he's still defining his existence. Honestly, through Amanda.
Someone he's never spoken to.
Which makes it all the worse. The boy needs therapy. And I don't know, that's the unhealthy side of this movie. That's the unhealthy message this movie sends. Don't buy into this. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
But other crazy things that are going on in this movie, that I would like to touch on is the movie soundtrack. Because how 90s is this thing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it opens with, Open Road Song by Eve 6. And it's just like, so 90s.
And also features Inside Out by Eve 6.
Yeah.
They appear twice in the movie. They are not on the soundtrack.
No kidding.
No. Nowhere to be found on the officially released soundtrack to this movie. Third Eye Blind actually appears twice in the movie, once with their hit Graduate, and then another with a much lesser-known song from them called London. Graduate is on the soundtrack, London is not. But what trips me out is how we were talking about Barry Manilow earlier, about how Mandy plays such a big role in this movie, and then there's a whole scene that's revolved around Barry Manilow. Like he's a big part of a subplot in this movie.
He's a major unseen character.
Yes, he's a major unseen character, not on the soundtrack at all.
I wonder if that was like a decision somewhere that people were trying to, I guess, maybe aim the soundtrack towards teenagers and didn't think teenagers would like Barry Manilow.
It is very possible, because when you look at the actual track list, which the soundtrack, to its credit, is 15 tracks. So it's got a lot in there. There's like I mentioned before, Third Eye Blind is on there. Smash Mouth is on there with Can't Get Enough of You, Baby.
Yes.
This was also the first time I ever remembered hearing Blink-182, though I did not know that's who it was at the time. Their first real breakthrough hit, Damn It, is on here. And played in the movie. Funnily enough, they agreed to that, but then would go on to write a song inspired by this movie that would also help to get them on the soundtrack to the first American Pie, and also get them a cameo in the movie.
That's right. I always forget they were in that movie.
Soundtrack also features one of my lesser-known 90s favorites, Black Lab, with a song called Tell Me What to Say. And
now, did the Replacements Can't Hardly Wait make it onto the soundtrack or not?
It did.
Because it's played. Okay, because it's played in the credits.
Yep. And I mean, it would be kind of a travesty to not have that in the soundtrack, since that is what inspired the name of the movie, and it does, as you said, as you pointed out, it plays in the closing credits, and we also get Guns N' Roses' Paradise City. Probably
the most prominent, plot-centric, other than Mandy, the most prominent plot-centric film.
I gotta say,
song.
That is still a moment I love in this movie, is when William hears this song being played over the loudspeakers and jumps up and does somewhere between a lip sync and karaoke.
Karaoke, but because you can hear him, and maybe I was just hearing things that weren't there, but I felt like I could hear him singing along with hearing the song, because he was singing it in the lower octave. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, I'm not crazy.
You're not. You absolutely can. He is way off note, of course, but he's performing right alongside this dude's boombox, and everybody just gets really into it.
Yeah.
I mean, at first they're like, well, that's pretty lame, and then all of a sudden he flips the script on them, and it just becomes this crazy moment where it's almost like he's performing with a real band behind him. So that was one of the moments that I really enjoyed in this movie. Now, did you have any favorite scenes in the movie? Something that just really jumps out at you?
So the things that really jumped out at me, I was actually keeping 3 running lists.
Oh God, here we go.
3 running lists of things. One of them was I was listing different teen movies and teen TV shows where an actor from those showed up in it, and I would put a little check. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was the highest, with 4. We had Seth Green, of course. Amber Benson, uncredited, but you do see her in the movie. Eric Balfour had a very small part in the first episode of Buffy. I think he was the second vampire shown, first one killed or something. And, God, it was the 4th Buffy one. There was a 4th one. There were 3 from Party of 5. But Jennifer Love Hewitt was the only major one. Lauren Ambrose did have a recurring role in one of the seasons, and Breckin Meyer was in one episode of Party of 5.
Was he?
We had 2 from She's All That. Yes, in there's a season. It was before Julia graduated high school. She dated a guy in his 20s who was like a contractor, and his slacker younger brother was Breckenmeyer.
Huh. Well, I'll be
in
damned.
like one episode. And then she dumped him because he turned out to be a racist.
How about that?
Yeah. She's All That had 2, Clea Duvall and the Shermanator. Clueless had 2. Donald Faison, Turk. His name is Turk as far as I'm concerned.
His name is Turk because Scrubs named him Turk.
Scrubs named him Turk. I always called him Petey because of Remember the Titans. But
oh, yeah.
He's also Turk. But then also Breckenmeyer was in Clueless.
Yes, he was. He was the stoner guy that Brittany Murphy's character winds up with near the end of the movie.
Yes.
That
was because I didn't remember. We were watching this movie, and I was like, "Now, was Breckenmeyer in Clueless or not?" And then and I asked Google because our Google Home just we live among robot overlords, and it said that his name was Travis, I think. Yeah. And then my wife was like, "Oh, that's right," because he ends up with Brittany Murphy's character.
Now,
so that was the first list I was keeping. Now, the second list I was keeping was really bad 90s fashion choices that particular friends of mine were still doing in the early 2000s.
Please tell me one of your friends was Kenny Fisher.
No, not Kenny Fisher, but you're on this list because you did have your chain wallet, which actually, yeah, Kenny Fisher did have that.
Kenny Fisher did have that with
really baggy chain pants. Wallet, and then the really shiny polo shirt that the guy who's hitting on Amanda, who turns out to be her cousin.
Oh, yeah.
The shiny shirt, of course, is a David Sunday trademark. And then the third list I was keeping is characters with really bad male characters with really bad haircuts that I also had at some point. That was more of a mental list, but I definitely had the William haircut. I had the Mike Dexter haircut, which grew into the Trent McNeely haircut. There was one more that was just bad, but anyway, those are the kinds of things that I was noticing in this movie. So I guess, while I don't have any nostalgia for the movie, I have nostalgia for the time period in the sense that I remember a lot about that time period.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it now. Like, I remember loving this movie whenever I was growing up, but going back and watching it now through the lens of 2018, it's like, wow, this is pretty bad.
Oh, yeah. Favorite most 90s line, though, is when William's talking about how he's going to regulate his alcohol consumption, and he has this thing that he says, "I downloaded it off the net."
Yeah, that would kill me. Oh, he hands it off to one of the drunk guys at the party, and is like, "Here, I want you to have this."
Yes.
And for some reason, this little things like that make me laugh. But some of these actors would go on to be in like much bigger franchises. Of course, we know Jennifer Love Hewitt went on to be a really big star, which she kind of already was around this time.
She was from Kids Incorporated, so she was.
Yeah. She went on to be even bigger than this movie, though.
Oh yeah.
And
of course, now she's in 911.
Yes, that's true. And Jamie Presley is in this movie.
Yes, she is. Did not remember her being in this movie until I saw this movie. Selma Blair was in it for like 2 seconds.
Yep, she's got a really quick cameo where she kind of shoots down, along with her friend. I don't know who played her friend, but yeah, she shoots down.
Jennifer Paz. Yep. They're credited as the girls Mike hits on.
The ones that Mike apparently called skanky at some point. So they're like, you know what, fuck you, and they leave. Leaving him sitting there on that swing all by himself. And I was like, get a look at your future, buddy. And, of course, the one character we've mentioned, we've only like kind of danced around the fact that he's in this movie, is Chris Owen. He is the Klepto Kid.
And I don't think he has any lines in this, does he?
No, he never talks. You see him walking around and stealing stuff, and it's the most random of shit, too. It makes no sense.
Machine.
At the end, he steals a gumball machine. He steals a cop car. I
didn't even catch that.
Yeah, he steals when the cops are busting up the party and they're all inside. He's walked outside and gets in one of their cars and drives away. Which was
it's weird for me to see him in so many of his roles. He was that's right. He was because he was the Shermanator.
He is Sherman in American Pie.
I didn't see. Yeah, he's the Shermanator. He's also in. He's the bully in She's All That.
Yes, he is. And but before this movie, I knew him from a little movie called Angus.
And see, I've seen Angus. I saw it years later. The first movie I ever saw him in, though, was October Sky with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh God,
and he was the nerdy kid. And so seeing him as like either a klepto or a bully or a weird sex pervert, like seeing him in all these other roles that he's in, just I had to rewire my thought of who he is, because the first movie I ever saw him in, he was the awkward nerdy kid.
Yes, he's played a pretty wide variety of roles. Yeah, he was also in Major Payne.
Didn't see it.
No, you've never seen Major Payne.
Guess we're gonna have to put it on the list.
It is. That's a 1995 classic. That's going on the list. We will get to Major Payne.
We may have to go 2 a month on these. I don't know.
You know what? We might as well. That you're hearing it here first, folks. We're going to start increasing the frequency of these things because we're just going to have to. Now, is there any character in the movie other than William that you found? Well, William and Denise, I think we have determined are like the most endearing characters, or the ones that feel like they go on the I guess the most realistic journeys. Is there any character that you feel like also does this, or any other standouts to you that you kind of think deserved a little bit more spotlight than maybe they got?
I think that Mike Dexter had the potential to. It felt like, because it feels like they're writing a redemption arc for him.
It does, and then they don't do it.
And then they don't do it.
That is really kind of disappointing. Like, there was a moment there, even though he was drunk, in his drunkenness, he apologizes to William for apparently screwing up his graduation speech, because William was the valedictorian, among other accolades that he got in high school. That kid had a list of things that he was in.
Yeah,
like, it was insane how much stuff he was involved in. But having Mike apologize to him was a pretty good scene, honestly.
Because essentially he almost goes through this past, present, future thing. Like, he's going, because he sees Trip McNeely. That's like the ghost of Christmas future for him.
Yeah,
he tries to hit on the quote unquote skanky girls, and he realizes he's actually not interesting enough to, and he realizes he can't. He's got to change his ways, or he's going to be miserable. And then they just throw that completely off with a little title at the end.
I mean, it's a sucky ending for him, but it's also kind of like a shit place to leave his character right there at the end in the diner, because it's like we've come full circle with him, and he's right back to where he started. So nothing changed for this character. Although Peter Fasinelli did okay for himself, I guess. He went on to be Daddy Cullen in the Twilight series.
This is true. He has a whole little family of vampire friends.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a better movie series, but it probably made him more money.
I've only seen one of them, and it was with riff tracks.
Yeah, I've only ever sat through one of these movies completely, and I think I fell asleep. So far as I know of, I didn't care anything about the movies, but all in all, so you were not a fan really of this movie at any point.
But I'm also not like, and I guess this was kind of my thoughts going into it. It's not even that I dislike it. It's just that it's not a movie I ever think about.
Yeah,
I didn't see it until I was in my 20s, and I only saw it once. And the biggest impact it left on me was, Charlie Korsmo did another movie after young Dick Tracy says, "What about Bob?" to Hook or whatever.
Did you know that Charlie Korsmo was originally not in this movie?
No, I didn't, until you told me before we started recording, but we'll keep the illusion up. No, I didn't.
Originally, the part of William Lichter was going to be played by Adam Han-Bird. And you probably will not know that name, but you have seen him before. He played young Robin Williams in Jumanji.
So he's Little Man Tate.
Yes.
Okay, that's a good casting decision.
You actually
former early '90s child star.
You actually do see him in the movie, though.
Okay, didn't know that.
There's a scene where I don't know if you remember at the party the first time we see the band, and they're going into that transition shot where the camera looks out the window and you see William and his two nerd buddies carrying a ladder behind the pool house. That scene is not Charlie, that's Adam. That is actually
I see.
Adam carrying the. I slowed it down recently just to see if I could tell the difference, and yep, the hair is very different.
They actually recast it while shooting.
Yes, they actually did shoot some scenes with him, and Charlie was attending MIT at the time that the movie was being filmed, so that's why he initially said no. But they convinced him to come on and film because I guess it really wouldn't interfere with his schedule, or they offered him more money, so they reshot those scenes, but they missed one.
Yeah, left you. Well, it's fun to go back and see some of the Back to the Future scenes with Eric Stoltz too.
Yes, that's just weird though.
It is. I can't imagine liking that movie as much with him.
Not possible. I don't see any way. Just like I can't imagine Charlie Korsmo not being William Lichter in this movie.
Yeah,
it's really defined by his performance, which was great. I actually really liked him in this film, and I think he could have gone on to do even bigger things, but he chose education and
I think he's a professor now. Like I think he's doing okay.
Yeah, he's doing fine. He doesn't
have to shoot till 3 a.m.
He did a movie in 2018 though called Chained for Life, and it's the first movie he's done. I want to
check it out. Yeah,
I'm looking at the credit for it on IMDb. I'm not sure about this one, but maybe. But yeah, from 1998 to 2018, he had done nothing. But that kind of brings us to the end here on Can't Hardly Wait. We've covered all the bases of it. I mean, there's just it was a teen comedy that was a precursor to a pretty big explosion of successful teen comedies, because American Pie would come out the very next year, and would go on to be way more successful.
I was watching an interview. I think it was Jason Biggs and Paul F. Tompkins. And Jason Biggs was talking about how that time, like, if you could be, like, if there was a teen comedy that was coming out, then and your agent got you in it, you took it. Like, that's where the money was at that time.
It's absolutely correct. And looking back on this movie, even at the time it came out, it was not a huge hit with critics, though it did okay box office wise. I think its Rotten Tomato score was like a 40%.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly, do you think that's fair? 40%.
I mean, I don't so much care about the Rotten Tomato score because that is like an aggregate of a bunch of different critics. I can see why critics wouldn't like this one, especially if you go back after the fact and you see how other films did that genre better.
Yeah,
because and I think that's probably why this film left no impact on me when I saw it at first, because it's not American Pie. It's not the 10 Things I Hate About You. Those are probably the two.
It's not even Dazed and Confused, which it definitely tries to take some liberties with.
Oh yeah, definitely. That said, Dazed and Confused, I feel like did the entire movie takes place over a single night a lot better than Can't Hardly Wait did.
Oh, I think you're absolutely correct on that one. Dazed and Confused is just overall better movie. It's more coherent in what it was trying to say than this movie was, and there are times whenever Can't Hardly Wait comes off as just a Johnny Come Lately, like you're trying to copy a formula that you've seen before, but you've watered it down to a PG-13 take on it. And
I wonder if that was like a studio thing. The PG-13 was a studio thing, and then I wonder if anybody got fired or started kicking themselves when American Pie ended up so successful with the R rating the next year.
They probably should have been, because there was no reason not to go for an R rating, I don't think, for this movie. And in fact, it got saddled with an R rating several times. before they edited the film down to get a PG-13, there are two characters that are cut from the movie completely. The crying drunk girl, played by Jennifer Elise Cox, she's not in the movie at all. But several of the scenes that she's in are still in the movie. They just cut out the part where she's going to appear. And for some reason, the censors were not keen on having a character who's so drunk that you can't understand a thing she says, but everything she says is subtitled. And apparently, she holds the key to clearing up any and all confusion of every character in the movie.
Oh.
So she could have cleared up all of this.
That would be interesting to see.
And Stoned Girl.
Yeah, that was Amber Benson.
Amber Benson. You do see her in the movie once.
Yeah, she's in the foreground, like, examining a banana really weirdly.
She has a couple scenes with Kenny, actually, and all of that is cut.
Hey, there's got a whole Buffy crossover thing going.
Yeah, precisely. Like, all of that.
Because they both dated Willow.
And apparently, Jason Segel had another scene in the movie. Because we see him basically performing fellatio on a piece of watermelon.
Yes.
At some point. Before that, you're supposed to see him with a whole watermelon where he says that he's poured like 6 bottles of vodka into this thing.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that he had poured vodka into the watermelon.
Yeah, it's like he's been like pouring vodka into this watermelon over the course of like a year or something in the fridge, and he gets it knocked out of his hands and the watermelon shatters.
Oh, that sucks.
And he's salvaged it by picking up this piece and like carrying it around for the rest of the movie. But that is that's really the most on the trivia end that I got for this one. So final verdict on Can't Hardly Wait. I'm going to say not the worst movie ever, but certainly doesn't stick with you.
Yeah, I have no regrets having watched it either time that I watched it. If it's on and nothing else is on, I'd watch it again. It's not something that I think I would seek out for at least another 5 years.
Yeah.
Also, do aliens exist in this universe?
You know, that's really hard to say. Those 2 kids at the end, I'm not sure if they were actually abducted by aliens or if that was just, more wishful thinking on their part.
Yeah.
Talk about a weird scene to end on. But this
So
movie,
maybe Amanda was an alien. That's why she's like doesn't act like any human being would have acted.
That makes sense to me. It's the only thing that can really explain why she is the way she is, or why she isn't a certain other way. But there we are. We've come to the end, and now we got to figure out what we're doing next.
Well, I mean, what's next month?
Next month is February.
Okay.
A month of love, but also the month of the groundhog. So I think I like this thing that we've got going on with letting our listeners pick our next movie. So I think Groundhog Day should be one of them. Bill Murray classic.
I agree. Great movie. And recently it was actually made into a Broadway musical.
Yeah, it was.
Comedian Tim Minchin did the music for it. Did not last nearly as long as it should have, but the soundtrack is on Spotify. Speaking, though, of 90s movies that were made into Broadway musicals and star former SNL cast members, we've also got The Wedding Singer. And with it being the month of love, I think that's not a bad choice either, because then you get a 90s perspective on the 80s.
That is you know what? I dig that. That's a really good point. So, all right, guys, that is your assignment for this next month. You got to tell us, which movie do you want us to talk about next? Groundhog Day or The Wedding Singer? Both classic romantic comedies that take very different twists on the genre. So, and
if we get enough votes in the Twitter poll, I may record myself singing a song from the Broadway musical of whichever one wins the poll.
You know what? I'm good with this. And this time, it's 2 movies that Sam absolutely loves.
That's right. It's not like last time.
We promised to do better on that one, and we already are. So I think that's going to about do it for me tonight, man.
All right. Well, where can we find you online, Russell?
Hit me up on the Twitter machine at Russell_Sellers, and then go check out my other podcast on PTBN. You can find me on the Marvel Age podcast, and then, of course, my limited series DC Post-Crisis Management. I've got new episodes of both of those coming up real quick. And
awesome. I am also on the Twitter machine at Mr. Woodles. And you can also hear me on the latest episode of Sunday Groove with our friend David Sunday talking about some of our comfort albums.
Hey, that's also good stuff. Make sure you guys go check out all those and then all these other podcasts that you're about to hear about in the ad. So with that, I think that brings us to a close. So,
all right.
So
see you all next time.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
PlayStation Nation's Justin Rosero and Chad Kimball here. We want to let you know that we have a ton of great podcasts available to you on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlayStation.com, and we now offer them to you on 2 great feeds. On the PlayStation Wrestling feed, we bring you the Mothership, the Place to Be podcast, Main Event, Survey Says, Wrestling Warzone, a Monday Night Wars podcast retrospective, No Holds Barred, Jeff Learns Wrestling, and our monthly pay-per-view reaction shows. On top of that, we're also dipping into the vault, re-releasing the entire catalog of where the big boys play for your enjoyment. And in addition to these full-length shows, we also deliver special network pod blasts on topics old and new.
The Place to Be Nation Pop feed is loaded with great content, offering such tremendous shows covering the land of pop culture, such as Geek and Sassy, Talkin' Pop, the Glenn Butler Podcast Hour Spectacular, Sunday Groove, PTB in Play, Freak Out Drive-In, Songs with Friends, Looking Forward, Looking Back, and Lucha Undead, as well as a veritable podcast heaven for comics fans with the hard-traveling fanboys, Sellers Points, Conversation Comics, DC Post-Crisis Management, Marvel Age, and Marvel Age Masterclass, plus weekly pod blasts that cover the gamut of comic topics. The feed is also filled with insightful sports content, including the NBA team, This Week in the NFL, and more.
And you can find all these current shows, plus archives of our past podcasts, including The Kevin Kelly Show, as well by subscribing to both feeds on iTunes. And while there, be sure to rate and leave feedback as well. All of these shows, plus others available at PlayStation.com. We cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, in-depth stretch projects, and more. Be sure to support our site by using PlayStation.com/Amazon while doing your online shopping. And download our free PTB Vintage Vault Refresh ebooks via the links on our site. We also want to thank our friends at Boneheads Wing Bar, ProWrestlingOnly.com, and TheHistoryOfWrestling.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr as well. PlayStation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.